Hi friends, my name is Akil Ahmed, and in this particular video tutorial I will show you how to find the duplicate records from a SQL Server table using row number function. So the agenda of today's video tutorial is that we will see like how we can find the duplicate records from a SQL Server table using row number function. So row number function is a Windows function and which can be used to generate a unique row in a particular table. So for example, if you are selecting the data from a table and if you want a unique ID to be generated at runtime, so you can use the row number function which can generate the unique ID at runtime. Okay, so the same row number function that has an option as partition by. So if you want to find the duplicate records, so you can give the column names either single column or multiple columns in the partition by clause, and then you can get the duplicate records using that particular thing. So when you do the partition by, then it will assign a unique number to every record. So let's see like how we can use the row number function to find the duplicate records. So without wasting further time, let's jump to the demo. So I got the SQL Server instance here and I got the AdventureWorks database in which we will be using the person.person table to find the duplicate records. So here it contains several columns like business entity ID and then first name, last name and other columns as well. So suppose I want to check for the duplicate records based on the first name and the last name. So how I can do that? And before showing this particular thing to you, let me show you like how we can use the row number function and how we can generate a unique identity column at runtime. You know, the column won't be added in the SQL Server table, but the column will be generated on the fly. A unique value will be assigned to each record. So how we can use the row number function? Suppose I want to add the ID column after the business entity ID. So at this particular location I can put row number. So the syntax is this one, row number and then over, and here if you just want to generate a unique number, then you can just say order by and any column. So I want to generate the unique number based on the business entity ID, so I can just give this particular ID. Suppose if you want to generate the unique number based on a particular date, for example in the ascending order of the data, for example whatever data is the most recent, if you want to give that value the first number, then you can do like order by modified date DESC. Okay, or if you want to give the number 1 to the record where the modified date is the oldest one, then you can see order by modified date, that's it, or modified date ASC, ascending order. So then it will give the ID as 1 to the oldest record. So this is how the order by clause, this is very it can be very useful in some of the scenario. For example, if you want to give it to the oldest record, so you can say order by modified ID. Okay, and then I can call the column as ID. So this is how a new column can be added as ID. Okay, and then it will give the unique record. So this is the modified date column actually, so I can say modified date. Okay, so here you can see that according to the modified date the data is sorted. So this is the most oldest data and then it's in the ascending order. Same way this is the ID which is coming in the ascending order. Now if you want to generate the ID according to the business entity ID, then instead of the modified date you can simply give the business entity ID, then the data will be present in the business entity ID order. Okay, so here we are using the row number function which is generating the data. So we can use the row number function, but the catch is that you cannot use the row number function in the where clause. So any Windows function you cannot use in the where clause. So suppose if I copy this one and if I put a where clause here like where row number and it greater than 10. Okay, so if I execute this particular query, so this is saying that Windows functions can only appear in the select or order by clauses. Okay, so this is the reason that you cannot use it in the where clause. So then how we can use the Windows function then? So you can only use it in the select statement. So now here it is generating the ID and the ID is starting from 1 and it's going up to the whatever number of records are there in the database. Okay, so for 1000 records the ID is 1000, so that's fine. So if you want to find the duplicate records based on the first name and last name, then you can use the partition by clause here. So we can use the partition by and then you need to provide the column name. So my column name is first name, and then the second one is the last name. So I can write partition by first name and last name, and then order by business entity ID. So if I execute this particular query, then this will give a value as 1 to the first occurrence of a particular record, and then this will give the value as 2 to the second occurrences of the record, and the value as 3 to the third occurrences of a record. So for example, if I sort the data based on the first name and last name, then you can check the data more perfectly. So I can say order by, and if I execute the query, now you can see that for this record, like Aaron Allen, this is the the value is 1 here, okay. And now if you see for the Aaron Con, so this is the first record which is unique, and now this is the second record which is not unique, so the value is 2. So all the records where the ID is not 1, those will be duplicate, or you can say where the ID is greater than 1, those records will be duplicate records. So if I scroll further, so you will find more duplicate records. So here you can also see that for this one, Abigail Barnes, for the first record, for this one, for this business entity ID 3955, this is unique record, okay. But if you look at the ID 12795, so where the ID is 2, so this is the duplicate record, okay. So this is how, so you can see a lot of duplicate record here, that this one Abigail Diaz, this is also duplicate, then this one Abigail Foster, so this is also duplicate. So where ID is 2, those records are duplicate, okay. So now if you want to find only the duplicate records, so we need to find the records where ID is greater than 1, okay. We cannot use the row number function in the where statement. Then what we can do, so to get the data where the data is duplicate and we want to find the duplicate records based on the row number function, we can use the CTE here. So I can write with CTE as, and then I can actually close the bracket here, and then I can write the condition select star from CTE where we created the column with the name as ID. So I can write the column where ID is greater than 1, okay. So this is how you can get the data, and if you want you can remove this order by clause here, so that's fine. So we are selecting the data from this particular table, and this is generating the ID column, okay. Now there are 19,000 records or something, 19,000, yeah. So this is generating all 19,000 records, all the columns are selected, and as well as an extra ID column is also selected. You can also call this particular column as RN. RN means row number, okay. So now this will select all the columns as well as an extra column which is the RN column, okay. So now if you want to filter out the records, those are the duplicate records. So what you can do, you can write the query like select star from CTE where RN is greater than 1. So this will now return only the duplicate records from this particular table. So you can see that 456 records are the duplicate where the value of the RN is not 1. So it can be 2 or it can be 3 or 4. So here the value of the RN is 4. So it means that this record is present 4 times. So this is the way, like you can select the record, those are duplicate in a table. And from this particular query, if you do not want to select some of the columns, so you can remove those columns from the select statement, and then it will select only the required columns from this particular query. So this query can be used to find the duplicate records, okay. And now if you want to delete the duplicate records, then you can simply replace the select star with a delete query, and then it can remove all the duplicate records from the table. Yes, so I think that's it for today's video, and I will share this query with you. You can download it from the link in the description of the video.